George said you was my attorney.
You don't pay enough. You don't pay enough.
I think he may have to recluse.
Right.
And I would have to ask your wife whether she wants you locked up or not anyway.
Thanks a lot, partner. Oh, yeah. I'm glad it's Friday.
Right.
Judge, at 1:30 it's not gonna be going.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, Bob's name.
Calling case number 2058302, the people of the state of Michigan versus Martell Legron. Defendant is charged with count 1, controlled substance possession, cocaine, heroin, or another narcotic less than 25 grams. Count 2, police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. This matter is here on a warrant.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Matthew Stillwell, on behalf of the people, P8335.
This is on court George Shedro, P41732, on behalf of Mr. Legrand, who's present with us. Please state your name, sir.
Martell Legrand.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Your Honor, my client failed to appear on the 18th. We were scheduled for an exam. He misunderstood and wrote down the wrong date. He wrote 3/28, which of course would be this weekend coming up. So he called me, an attorney called me that was there in your courtroom this morning, saying Mr. Legrand was there turning himself in. We would ask that the warrant be recalled, the bond be reinstated, and my client wishes to waive his preliminary examination.
The medication is set aside.
Yes.
Or,
Yes.
I need to file. They have to file.
On who?
They gotta file this. He wants to waive it.
Oh, he wants to waive? Oh, I
Yes.
didn't know he wants to waive. Oh, yeah, I got it. Oh. I didn't know he wanted to waive.
I apologize, Kitty. I thought I said
Yeah,
that.
when you, cause it,
It'll be downstairs.
yeah. I don't have it.
All right, I'm gonna set it, what we'll do is I'll set aside the cases, reinstate the bond, and, bring you back Monday morning, 8:30. You can come on Zoom, and you can waive it then,
Okay.
all right?
Monday, the 29th? Okay, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Let's go down through, the criminal department and find this file.
Oh, okay, no problem. All right, Mr. Martel, we'll see you Monday morning, okay?
Okay, what time?
9, what time,
8:30.
Judge?
8:30.
8:30. I'm putting it in right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Need a bond, I need to do a bond form.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Where's, our 1:30?
Mr. Anderson is getting ready to log on Zoom.
Mr. Legrand, you're free to go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you got Mr. Anderson's coming in, Kitty?
Yeah, he's coming in.
Okay, so I don't have to stand in. Okay, bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, pretty much.
Not knowing that they went. Oh, she's on the other side. No, I know. The next one at 2:00. Our next case is not to 2:30. No, we got one before that, James T.
Oh, you said our next one.
Yeah, right to 2:30.
This is Mr. Anderson.
Oh, that's different.
No, I was studying like this, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah, it's a different.
Clients here?
I looked it up. No, it's not here.
Where's the client?
Ready? Calling case number 2060220, the people of the state of Michigan versus Hakeem Whitehead. Defendant is charged with count 1, weapons carrying concealed. This matter is scheduled for examination. Defendant has failed to appear.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Matthew Stoll on behalf of the people, PA 3358.
And Gary Anderson on behalf of Mr. Whitehead, P27210.
Mr. Klein, Mr. Anderson.
Your Honor, first of all, let me be clear. I did not have this hearing in my book. And my not being there is totally my fault, and I apologize. The second issue is, though, in regard to Mr. Whitehead, I have not had either a address or telephone number for which I could contact him. MIDC has instructed me that in instances such as this, I am to avail myself of the investigator that I'm capable of using in an attempt to locate him. I did make a request and submitted an application for an investigator to try and track him down, but I have absolutely no way at this point in time of communicating with Mr. Whitehead.
All right,
Your Honor, at this time, the people are ready to proceed. We would ask for a habeas.
all right. Well, the client has the ability to go online and look up his name in the 36th District website. He would know exactly when his court date was, if he didn't know before. So, you know, he knows he has a case, he just hasn't done anything about it. At this point, habeas will enter, any bond previously submitted shall be forfeited. New bond set, 30,000 cash.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Your Honor. Again, I apologize for my non-appearance.
Oh, it's all right. Thank you, though. Thank you for coming on.
Sign your officers out. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, we can put them up.
Your Honor, for the
Let's put them up. Yeah, there you go. No, no, 2:30 or 1:30.
Yeah.
You have to give it back. However, I was able to.
No, see it.
Make it a writ for a hearing, so people will be hearing myself.
All
Yeah,
right.
I got confirmation.
If he had talked to you, he didn't even know he's wrong.
right.
I had a case adjourned. I wouldn't put an hour there on my case.
I know, I'm looking at that, that's all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe some late or something.
That's what I'm wondering, did we, that probably could happen. Something was.
Yeah,
I'm
because
okay. How are you?
Because he usually don't do that.
especially at CCW, the next case, you don't do until
Okay,
2:30.
To the end of the case.
I had over. Well. So you take off the.
Very cool.
25th through the.
He told me to log down to Monday, right?
Yes, 8:30.
Well, I left off 26th.
I know, he forgets about that, it shouldn't be fast.
Yeah, actually, I don't think it was that.
37.
I hate when they have too many. Especially when your doctor's already.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stuff like this, I really don't mind too much. Dang. Okay. State, what was this original file?
1,000. So you can't see the faces I'm making it.
I can tell, I can see your eyes, I know your eyes.
The ones I'm using. Want to take off? Want to take off the. Remove them all.
Did you hit this?
Huh?
Did you hit this?
No, did you see them? I just put up this.
So you didn't win it?
No.
But see, that's okay. 2 weeks. Only thing I do is put a 3 there. But that 0, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, remember we played 3, 4?
yeah, I still play that.
That's what we needed, just a 3, but it got something.
Yeah, I play. I still play that 2, 3, 4.
Substitute.
I think.
So what I would like to do is just make sure I take everything off my docket.
You see?
I don't schedule anything. The only thing we have on there would be that, you know, the schedule for the
15 numbers.
Because all my other PCs.
How many you play? 15, like 15, 20 numbers a day?
Oh, with mid-day less than that, but it depends on how I feel. But most of the time I play no more than 10, 12 hours. You know, but I just pulled off $291. So all you know.
Yeah.
I'm
You got
ahead.
it- you got it back.
Yeah.
I guess I need something right now.
Okay. Oh, look at that, see? Check this out, sis. You see when playing, it comes before you.
Yeah, it's.
407.
Yeah, okay, 704.
And I be playing the 3 instead of the 7 here.
Let's see what else you got on.
There's one up there.
Oh, it's on.
I played on 213.
Yeah, I played that too.
Play the courtroom, just in case. My sister's birthday.
You walking around with no mask, Judge?
Yeah, I guess so. Then I got burned.
Hey, kid, he paid his dues with that second shot.
Oh, yeah.
Poor thing, he gets sick. You say you ain't getting nothing, then you
Yeah.
get
What, the shots?
the second.
Yeah, I got them both.
No, so you ain't getting. nothing.
No, no reaction.
Oh, man, that was just not a thing. You wouldn't even tell me.
Nope. My arm was a little sore in the first one,
Oh, okay.
but not in the second one.
Did your husband get it? How he do?
He did good the first one. The second one, he got a slight fever.
Did he get a baby? He just wanted you to take care of him now.
I take care of him. Cut this down.
Right. Got that.
It's gonna be quick, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right.
So we got rid of Whitehead,
No, we didn't get rid of him with KPs. He got KPs. Kidding, come on, we got rid of him.
Right. I mean, he off the docket, whatever.
Yeah, but saw Carmen too.
What about James Taylor? Huh?
I said, I saw Carmen a couple of times since I've been here. I ain't know she's so bad.
Well,
So much done changed.
yep.
I ain't even, I see, Judge Blount retired a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, nobody knew that was coming.
But you know, she was the senior judge.
Yeah. She was
I wonder,
doing
I was saying, I wonder
something
who's the senior judge now.
I forgot, we were just talking about that. We thought it's not Giles.
Oh, it's Coleman been here a long time.
I think it is Coleman.
He been here a long time.
I always forget about Coleman.
He's been here since the nineties.
He's just so quiet. You'll never hear nothing about him.
He's been here since the nineties.
Yeah, it probably, it must be
I
Coleman.
think he's been here since 92. I think he's been here since 92. 92. That's a long time.
Yeah, that is.
But still, he ain't here. I don't think he had nothing on Blount though.
Yeah, she's been a long time.
Yeah, he was here a long time.
I know his clerk retired.
Yeah, Tammy
Judge
retired.
Coleman, yeah.
Yeah, sure did.
That you did.
Yeah, he done been here a long time. He done had a court reporter retired. He done had 2 clerks retired. That's.
Yeah, yeah, he's been here a long time.
We're gonna have to go tease him about that.
And cough all the way down there, right here.
I remember it was a time I used to do that too. Oh, God. That'd be so cool if they put that in on a 4, they put a 3 right behind this. That would be real
Something
cool.
like that.
We'll put that 3 instead of the 7. We both would have some. I just, I didn't see this one. I felt anything but. Did you play the 4 digits? Did you play 4 digits?
Today, I only played one. I played 5115.
Oh, well, you should. 5115.
Mhm.
Oh, man, you get that. That'd be nice. Where you get that at?
That's me and my husband's day we started dating.
Oh, this so cute.
It didn't come out last year, so. I think it might come.
Right.
It's not a common number to fall. So.
Now, what does come out, 515, that comes out a lot.
Yeah, but you know what? It hasn't, I don't think that fell last year.
Really?
If it did, it was only once.
And it came out, yeah, because I was thinking about that police for my sister named Mary, 515 and 510.
Because I played 505 a lot.
That comes out too.
Yeah, that's my son's birthday. And Tish, you know I got a grandbaby.
Where's your
You
picture?
know, I got a grandson,
Oh,
my
Cool.
oldest son.
okay.
Yeah, it better
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
not be pork chop.
Do he look, now see, because this happens sometimes, do he look like his daddy or do he look like his uncle?
He looks like his daddy.
Because sometimes the kids come out and they be like, you look just like my brother.
Yeah, that's true.
Look just like my sister.
No, he looks like.
And then they get named after their uncle or their auntie or whatever. But my niece is named after me. The only thing she really got, she do have like real slanted eyes.
Oh, she's named after you?
Mm-hmm.
Chinese checker. Asia.
She taller than, way taller.
You taller than you?
Who ain't though?
Yeah, that's true.
Right. What is the name of your, carpenter? You said you had a carpenter.
She got her ass on the prize. She just got straight A's. She wanna go to Howard. She in the 10th grade now though. Almost a fool.
Oh, okay.
He's 5, he'll be 6.
That's the two of them. Thank you. Where Pork Chop at?
Okay, yeah, I got you.
I'm still.
Ceiling, what used to be the pool room, fixed. You know, they had the leak in the roof, and of course it messed up part of the ceiling, and that's all wood.
Oh, all of us was around here, wobbling around here together back in the day, because I remember when Carmen was pregnant too.
You know, this food wasn't-
Oh, yeah, that's right, she was.
We was all just, bam, we was just,
Okay,
what,
shade it. Okay. All right, thank you. All right.
now the kids is having baby, my gosh. Oh, that's okay, yeah. Oh, sweet. You done grew up.
Yeah.
They look alike to me.
Oh, him and his brother?
Yeah.
You got
This is him and his brother.
I know.
Just them together.
But they approach
Yeah, they. Oh, yeah. Don't say they don't look alike. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
this is.
Uh-huh. Even how they look, they hairline and stuff is like,
Staying with us last time,
Yeah.
I just
Yep,
changed
right there.
I was like, I got one skinny and one big.
I also.
Yeah.
received a
Oh.
A big baby
Wow.
by skinny.
Excuse me?
Whoa,
Yes.
you got two
Yep.
grown men.
So I have that kind
Wow.
of coordinated, and then I just spoke to Mr. Nice. He has
No.
started as her attorney.
You talking some, he still is a poor child too. I said,
Wondering if he needs to be in person, I said, see,
Oh,
they
he
told him
greedy.
when it calls off.
Well, wait a minute, that ain't got nothing to do with that. They be greedy, whether they be skinny or what, that ain't got nothing to do with it.
Well,
Yeah.
Monday wasn't the testimony, Monday was just the check-in date.
Oh, Monday can be.
Zoom, okay, that's what I thought, I thought he would be,
Everybody can be on.
okay, that's what I thought, so he'll be here next
Yeah,
year, Monday, and then I'll let him know the exam date, and have him be here in person on that date.
All right, well, special services contacted.
They were judged, I don't know if you want me to give you all that now, it's been,
We go through it then.
yeah, it's been
I can,
a couple of days.
Is that Nicole James from that 2:30?
Yep, I can bring them.
Yep. Yeah.
You just sign, stamp it on it. Certifying I am who I am.
Yes.
I did call for an attorney. They said they would have one on Monday.
Yes, he called me, actually.
Huh?
He called me, I spoke to him, the
Oh,
attorney from
the
Monday.
attorney?
Yep,
Oh.
so we should be all set with him.
So is it just the one spot?
Yep, it's just the one right there.
Oh, you kneel.
Yes, thank you. And I think it makes you print your name at the very top of that one too. Sorry.
Oh,
I wasn't sure if it was gonna be you here today or not, so I didn't want to write it in just in case.
My daughter likes to bake, that was her first pumpkin pie right there.
That's
It
it.
was good.
Yep, thank you so much.
It's so good. I'm looking like it.
Thank you, you're awesome, so good.
You
They're all like fitting and like.
know, when grandma see that, especially when grandma remember that. You went 19. But this is how you,
Okay.
this is how you win.
Yeah.
Change the date. The one we need to block, October, 2 weeks, 11th through the 29th. No.
I like my food to be
October
October
11th.
through the 15th.
I like pretty food.
Looks like, it looks so pretty, it looks like it tastes good.
Just
Right.
October 11th? Okay, go ahead.
And then October 18th through the 22nd. We don't have anything scheduled right now, we need to block it. So, make sure anything that, there ain't no date, something on vacation.
Okay.
And then we need to change the dates given for June.
My birthday dinner last summer.
Some lobster. Okay, crab.
And that's gonna be this summer, right?
30th,
That's your favorite.
Yep.
first, second.
I like
July
lobster.
1st,
I like,
second.
I like,
July 1st and July 2nd?
And 6th and
She
7th.
make everything. She made this is the chocolate chip banana bread I was telling you about.
And the-
Oh, she making it up. She,
June, the dates in June to the 23rd.
Yeah, June 23rd, 24th, 25th, 28th,
I'm gonna have her make one,
29th,
I'm gonna have her make
Yeah.
one.
and then July 1st, 2nd, 6th, and 7th.
First, yeah, first, second, 6th and 7th.
Yeah, okay.
And these is her,
Is it a
her
date?
blueberry
or-
muffins with the crumble. She make the
Okay.
crumble.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. No, it's on the-
This is.
Oh, I mean, is it a date we changing them to, or?
We need to get the attorneys in here on the June one, so that we can get a date.
My daughter got two and two this year.
These are just bigger copies.
I probably could just change it to September date.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
When me and her made this together. Shrimp,
Oh,
shrimp fry, rice with bacon rice and stuff.
That's the I like.
We did that together. You got the chocolate chip banana bread. What you call it, say, he talking about, I want that.
Oh, that looks good.
It's chocolate chip banana. I said, I'm gonna have to get her to make one. Yeah. She went online and she's like, I'm gonna make this. I got everything, I'm gonna make it.
I like it.
Okay, let me change it to,
I can't be used to this stuff.
My daughter makes homemade cookies. And I
I'll
was
start putting them on the 15th.
They're
and
growing, sitting on top.
16th,
So-
17th.
So do like before, Judge, so this is the 23rd. Just put all these the same times, just to the, starting at the 16th day?
Well, the 1 week
Oh,
is the,
I'm all about it.
we can do that for that 1 week.
I didn't know she was very so tall.
Just a little bit over you.
How many witnesses?
I think it's 20, yeah.
I would say,
That's
something
Monday
that I
through
want to
Friday.
accept,
Let's
so.
stick that in that.
you know.
I want you to change.
Uh,
After this.
Prisoners.
Yeah, at 2:45.
6 of
No, I'm serious.
So,
We
I'm
got
like, oh my God.
June 28th.
You hand this to them when they bring the guy up.
June 28th.
Oh, okay, okay.
no.
Don't do it.
9th, 30th, 1st, and 2nd, that's a whole week.
I'm still
So
working.
take that
uh-huh.
1 week and stick it on the week of.
Don't do it too.
Some of it is, some of it is. Definitely.
Then June,
You gonna have to bring in some other chicken. Not next week, though, we got that.
June 23rd and 24th. We can stick those on September. 15th and 16th.
All right.
Okay, and then that just leaves,
You said
July.
September 15th and 16th?
yeah, June 23rd, put on the 15th, June 24th, put on the 16th. Then that following week, we got that week goes to next week.
What about the 25th?
Yeah, the
June
week of the
20.
25th, the week of June 20. No, the week of, you're right.
So June 23rd is a Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
So I'm doing what day? September 15th and 16th?
15th, 16th, and 17th.
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
So I'm saying. And then, the 6th and the 7th. July 6th and 7th. Should be a Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
Put those on the following week. 27th, 28th.
September?
Yep.
27th. All right.
Okay, got it?
Yep.
Okay. Once, we do that and send it out. we get the
Yeah,
prosecutor
let the
notice.
prosecutors know.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm covering. I'm sorry. This is just the exhibit list and witness list for the judge for the 245.
Oh, so then-
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit because it's loud.
Yeah.
There you go.
We have put in the 16th to the 30th. And on the 9th to the 23rd.
Everybody coming here for you, Chad. I heard it how many people, you only made me listen.
Sure don't, sure don't.
Because
You coming back?
Oh, yeah, just hold on.
confirmation for the second week. They said they could only confirm studio appointment.
I don't depend on.
You say, no, I ain't got no nickname.
Right, right. Two bedroom.
Yeah, you're good.
No, we're going to have to move it. We're gonna take it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Right. Yeah. Go out there early, some days early. I don't want to be there on a plane all day long. Well, you know, like, you know. Yeah, well, come back 2 days later. That, go out there 3 days early, 2 days after.
That's on the NBLC.
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, yeah, this one, I think is Mr. Taylor. Yep. Mr. Taylor is that.
I wish they come with James.
Where's my attorney at?
I know, right? Well, still a little time, but still.
You still got time?
Yeah, we got time. It's 2:18.
James Taylor.
Where's he at? Where's he at?
Is that Anderson? What, facility?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go through those dates one more time.
Okay.
Just to make sure we got it right. Or why don't you give them back to me?
June 20, you want me to tell you what dates?
Yeah. So June 23rd.
June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We got September
No, I
adjourned
mean,
to
what day did you change it? Yeah.
September 15th, 16th, and 17th. June 28th, 29th, 30, 31, oh no, and 1st and 2nd, September 20th through the 24th. And July 6th and 7th, September 27th and 28th.
Okay. Yeah.
If you can. Like this. Get the email from Jess.
I have,
Yeah.
I have. Jennifer got Monday. I have her do a letter to the prosecutor's office, letting them know that these cases are going to be transferred to these dates.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
Well, Oh, yeah, no issue.
You here on the homicide matter? Oh, you want me to put that here? Yeah.
I think
Oh, that's
MDOC,
MDOC, right? That's the 2/3.
yeah, we just went on, Miss James.
Yeah. That's what you doing? Huh?
Yep.
Okay.
I think, yes, no one's over that.
How are you? What's that?
That haven't shit came, they have it?
Huh?
They came already?
Which one? The top one?
The top.
Yeah.
Just-
Nice.
Just like that?
No.
Check it out.
No, I just started. They bought a trade. I didn't get my trade. My trade out there. I can get it for you.
Thank you. They brought him this game.
So can I go? Can I go back out and can I, get put in a breakout room with him?
Yeah, the judge gotta do it though.
Uh,
You have your.
I have my phone, yeah.
You can't let the judge do it.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
313.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
your attorney is here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up too. Yeah. That's a birthday gift.
I'll be wearing the vest.
Yeah, that's a gift right there.
I think she might have a little hat.
This is a good one, though.
Not bad as it used to be.
Say it again. You wanna go get it? Where you gonna do it?
Are you? I think it's just in the position.
I'll go get it.
Breakout room.
Right.
Remember, we got this 245.
Sounds good. All right.
I won't stay in there long.
I was gonna say, I can put the camera on you and talk to him that way, but you rather be in a breakout room.
Yeah.
I understand. Oh, yeah, so we got these video things on.
right, Judge. Judge, can I meet with him in a breakout room for a minute? If I go out in the hallway and dial in?
Yeah.
Okay.
She did. Huh? She said she wasn't gonna be long.
Well, I went out there, she was just sitting there. I said, why didn't you come in? She said, they always tell her, don't come in. I'm like, nah, I don't tell you. You got something going, that's one thing. They all started saying. They have lawsuits here.
Type it in and type the paper down there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And we'll set that up there. The rest. 439. Hello? Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Officers got subpoenas to come to court, but apparently they had some wrong information, so they got an attitude.
Oh, that's on the cold
With
hunt on
security
that, on James Taylor.
Yeah,
Why did he ask that? I didn't think
I
it
don't
was.
know, if they're subpoenaed and they're
Yeah.
witnesses, why, and they're police officers.
Yeah, that's gonna come up pretty soon. I understand that.
I mean, their subpoenas would have the defendant's name on there.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do about it.
There's your people.
Very fun.
Your people. Look at that.
He must be on the way back.
Thank you, Judge. I'm ready.
So let me go get,
Run out of time.
yeah, let me go get,
I'm ready. Let's talk a minute.
let me go get.
Um, Ready on James Taylor. Calling case number 20-62269. The people of the state of Michigan versus James Taylor. Defendant number 2 is charged with count 1, weapons, firearms, possession by a felon. Count 2, weapons, ammunition, possession by a felon. Count 3, weapons carrying concealed. Count 7, weapons, felony, firearm. Count 8, weapons, felony, firearm. Habitual offender, fourth notice. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Happy to welcome to have all PAs in the
And good afternoon, Your Honor. Nicole James, on behalf of James Taylor, who is present via Zoom. We are prepared to proceed and would like to address one issue before getting started.
The people are also prepared to proceed.
Taylor, state your name for the record, please.
James Taylor.
Thank you. What's the issue?
Judge, previously, I know this case has been up about 2 or 3 times. I've requested the body cam video. Each time I've been told that that would be provided, and to this day, I still have not received it. So last time we were here in court, and Mr. Key held his exam, I spoke with the officer in charge, I spoke with the prosecutor. Both indicated that they would provide the body cam video, and I still haven't.
Your Honor, regarding the body cam, I do not have that in my possession. I have forwarded all available discovery to both defense counsels on this case. I can speak like OSC to determine if that in fact exists or not, but I cannot make an accurate statement with the.
Yes, the problem is the officer in charge looked at his file last time we were here, indicated that it did exist, and that he would make sure that I got it.
Well, 220. You want to talk to him, you can talk to him. James, when you. Counsel?
Your Honor, I did just speak with my OIC and it's more just a check with our audit log. The video discovery that we do have in our possession was sent on January 12th. I just spoke with my OIC. There is no dash cam footage, but body cam should have been sent on the January 12th date.
I don't have it. We were just here, in February, if I'm not mistaken,
First.
and that's when I indicated that I needed it.
Okay, what's on the, ROA, one of the last what they were. Please.
Sure.
I'm not mistaken, this would have been February 22nd, but I'm relying on the court information.
February 22nd is the date that you have listed for co-defendant. That would make sense.
Yep, that's correct. February 22nd, 21.
Personally, sent the body cam directly to
That would have been in January though.
He didn't know the exact date, but my audit log showed January 12th.
We know she didn't have it in February. February 22nd. All right. This matter is dismissed without prejudice. If you file it. All right. Okay. Need this Mr. Ford, please?
Thank you.
Courtroom 439. Yo, Sean. I'm gonna read her. Yes, can you bring him up? You get ready to do it.
Ms. Deb, okay. What's going on? How you doing, Mr. Ware?
Hi, Judge, how you doing?
You know, I have a long arm.
Judge, can I go back into a breakout room and explain what happened?
Sure.
Thank you.
No.
You want to pause?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can send it.
I'll be right back. Get that one.
Oh, I'll bring it out to you.
No.
So here.
Gary, he wants to know if he can come back when you get on
Can I
staff.
talk with him for 1 second?
1 second, I'm coming too.
Okay, all right. It's too late. Oh, that was one.
Oh, you know what? That was.
Let me get him up. Of course. Come on up. You know, Sean, Balmerino, remember? Okay, what's your birthday? That's you right there. Thank you.
How you doing?
So they on the table.
Oh, we just did it.
Good turn.
No. Group outside right now?
Yeah.
They don't. No. So, you know, today is our opportunity, you know, like I said.
Oh, I thought this was the actual original at first.
Good copy. Oh, here's your copy, Matt.
Thanks. Have a good weekend, everybody. I'm gonna go, give a little scolding, but.
Still, give me that bag right there.
Go do a little
Bag right here?
folding.
Have a good weekend.
Take care of yourself.
All right, thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye, Matthew.
Yep, I'll see you guys Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah, I think Blair's in here Monday.
Sure.
All right.
You ready on Balmerino? Yes, sir. You ready? Ready. Stand up.
Yeah, here it comes.
Balmerino.
Balmerino.
Balmerino. Del Sean. Balmerino. Step right over here.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There's like 8 officers out here. Let's see if they need to get signed out. On this case.
Ready on Delshon Bomarito?
Ready.
Calling case number 21-55286, the people of the state of Michigan versus Delshon Bomarito. Defendant is charged with count 1, homicide, murder, first degree premeditated. Count 2, weapon, felony, firearms. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ashley Chacon on behalf of the people, P75922.
And Your Honor, good afternoon to you and to your staff. Michael Woodyard, my P number is 64612. I'm appearing on behalf of and with Mr. Bomarito. Say good afternoon to the judge and say your name out loud.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Judge. How are you? I'm Delshawn Bomarito.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, we are ready to proceed.
Judge, today is the date and time set for a preliminary examination. At this time, the people are also ready to proceed. I make a motion to suppress for all witnesses, and I'd ask for an exception by officer in charge who's seated in the courtroom. Officer, and I'll spell his last name ARNTSO.
Is he testifying?
He is not.
Any objection?
Judge, I have no objection to that order. I will point out in today's time and space, there's somebody on the computer screen.
I'm going to see that.
Yep, thank you.
I see it's two people.
I think it might be people related to my side, but that's my problem.
All right, any other witnesses testifying today at trial or any future time must leave the courtroom, as includes Zoom and YouTube, or be denied any future testimony, with exception to the officer in charge. Is that Mr. Lindsay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Lindsay, are you related to this case in some kind of way?
Yes, Your Honor, I am. Delshawn Bomarito is my son.
Oh, he's your son? I couldn't,
Yes,
you
sir.
faded off. Hear you.
Yes, sir. He's my son.
Okay, you're not a witness in this matter though, are you?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may, I've had a conversation with Mr. Lindsay, and looking through the discovery, it appears to me that he may very well be a witness. I don't know that he actually saw things, but he may very well be a witness to this case, certainly at least on my part. So I'm going to ask the court to order accordingly. I don't want to have to run into a problem later on.
Okay, when you say he would be a witness, okay, we're talking about a character witness?
No, Judge, there were some
alibi witness?
There were some text messages that were sent and received that I believe. I don't want to take the prosecutors.
That's correct. There were some messages exchanged between the defendant and his father, just after the homicide.
Okay, who is Tamika Lindsay?
And just before the homicide.
I'm not sure who Tanika Lindsay is.
That's my wife.
I'm Delshawn Bomarito's stepmother.
Okay, does she have any?
Not
Not
the
that I'm
website.
aware of, no. If it's his stepmother and not his mother, then no, I don't know.
All right, Mr. Lindsay, it appears that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sign off, just in case they end up calling you at trial or something, if it goes that far.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Take care now.
You guys stay very much.
All righty.
All right. Any preliminary issues, Elder?
None at this time.
No, Judge.
All right, you call your president.
Thank you. At this time, we'll call Miss Rania, Rahina Hudson, Hudson.
Give me your name. Right here. Right here, right?
Oh, now you're listening.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Close the door right here, please. Sitting there all day. In Cooney. All right, Ms. Hudson, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Hudson, I'm gonna be asked to do this. First, by the prosecutor, and the defense attorney to talk about this question. I may or may not. You have to answer every question on how good we use it. You just take it there. I think, yes, no, or whatever, yeah. Okay? Also, when you ask a question, please just answer that question and stop. If it's a yes or no type question, just say yes or no and stop. They need to ask you, if they need additional information, they'll just ask you another question. All right? You all have a tendency when we're talking about an event that's been traumatic in some way or another, we tend to ramble. We'll say this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And we like to go on and on. We're trying to get it all out. All right? If you do that, I'm gonna miss something. If I miss something, I might not make the right decision. Okay? I know nothing about this case. I know the defendant's name, I know what he's charged. Now I know your name. That's all I know so far. Okay, I get all my information from what happens in court, one question, one answer at a time. That way I can understand it. Okay? And then last but not least, because of the masks and the barriers and all that, it gets hard to hear. So you just please, huh?
I'll speak up.
Okay, and you pull that microphone down just a little bit, that will help amplify your voice. Okay. Okay, all right, thank you. Make a change.
Thank you, Judge. Now, Ms. Hudson, I did hear you kind of say to the judge. Make sure everything you say is verbal, so it has to be yes or no, so that Madam Court Reporter can take it all down. Okay? Okay. Can you tell us your name again? Ronald. And Ms. Hudson, I want to take you back to the date of December the 31st, 2020, going into the early morning hours of January the 1st, 2021. Remember those dates? Yes. Okay. Is it fair to say that that's New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day? Yes. Okay. And on that date, between the hours of 11 p.m. and in the early morning hours on New Year's Day, were you at the location 22325 West 8 Mile Road? Yes, I was. Is that in the city of Detroit? Yes. In the county of Wayne? Yes, ma'am. And are you familiar with the apartment A28? Yes, ma'am. Okay, and what was that apartment back to you back in December 2020 and January of 2020? It was my boyfriend's apartment, Stereo. Okay, and do you know how to spell Stereo? Yes. Can you spell that for us? Pabario. And do you know his last name? Collin, Collina. And do you know the name of that apartment? Was it like an apartment building? Victoria Palace apartment. Now, were you living there? Yes, I was. Who was living there with you? Me, myself, my boyfriend Dario, and Joe Shawnee, Miss Ronald. Okay, and how long had you all been living at that location? I've been there for about like a year now, and Joe Shawnee, I want to say some weeks, I believe, I'm not sure. Okay, so a shorter period of time, is it fair to say, than you and your boyfriend? Yes. Okay. Now, on that date and approximate time, that New Year's Eve date, were you at that home that day? Yes, I was. And was there anyone else at the house with you? Not on that specific date. Okay. Now, what about going into January the 1st of 2021? Were there some individuals at the location that day? I believe there was a party going on. Okay, were you present for that? Yes, I was. Okay, what made you believe that there was a party going on? I was in a room and I just heard music and I didn't get a chance to come out the room. Okay, now at some point in time, did you come out of the bedroom? Or is it a bedroom? Let me ask you. Yeah, it's a bedroom. Okay, at some point in time, did you come out of that bedroom? Yes, I came out a couple hours later once everybody got to leaving. What time would you say that was about? I want to say 3 what, a.m. or p.m.? It was like, I want to say, it wasn't light outside. Okay, so would that have been 3 in the morning? And I'm not kind of sure, but I know it wasn't light outside. Okay. Now, when you walked out of that bedroom, what did you do? Or what did you see? I seen beer bottles and liquor bottles, and I sat down in a chair. Okay. And do you recognize, are there people out there? Not at the moment, but it was 2 people, but one person left. His name was Jules. Okay. But that person left already, so at that point, it was people there. It was me, Dario, Tamar, and Delshawn, so my friend David. And your friend what? My best friend David. Do you know how to spell her name? Gaeliyn. Okay. Now, do you see any people here in the courtroom today that were there at that house on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day?
Yes.
Okay, can you point to that person, tell me where they're seated, what they're wearing, and if you know that person by a name?
He's in a front row seat on the bench and he has on green and his name is Delshon.
Okay, and for the record, Judge, the witness, Ms. Hudson, has described and identified the defendant in this case, Mr. Delshon Bomarito. Thank you. And you indicated that Mr. Bomarito had a son, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, how old was that, the son?
2.
Okay, so a baby, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, what is the atmosphere like at the point in time that you exit that bedroom? You know what I mean by that?
The crowd area?
Well, what does it seem like in there?
Just a normal people just partying.
Okay, are you aware of any issues that were going on at the point in time that you exit the bedroom?
Not that I can know.
Okay. Now, at some point in time, do other individuals arrive at the location or leave?
No, it was still the same people there, me, Canario, Delshon, Tamar, and my friend Taylor.
Okay. At some point in time, did the atmosphere at the location change from a party to something else?
Yes.
Describe that.
It went to altercation. Before that, it was a couple hours before that, I'm not sure what time it was, but Delshon and Tamar was already into it.
And who is Tamar?
A relative.
Of who?
Canario.
And that's your boyfriend, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what relation they have?
No, but I know they family members.
Okay, and are you aware of anybody else other than Tamar and your boyfriend Tenario that had any type of familial or family relationship at that house?
No.
No, okay. Do you know what, if any, connection that Mr. Bomarito had to your boyfriend?
No, they used to go back and forth like 24/7 at it.
Okay, do you know how they knew each other?
No, they relatives.
They're relatives?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know like what type of relatives?
Blood relatives, like first cousin.
Okay, so Mr. Bomarito and your boyfriend were blood relatives?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at some point in time, you indicated that something changed, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, describe that for us.
So my boyfriend Canario walked in, he also had a liquor in his system, so he was drinking. And he walked up to Delshon and he was asking Delshon questions, asking him, why did he pull his gun out on Tamar?
Are you aware of some issue that had occurred, with regard to Mr. Bomarito in a gun and Tamar?
Judge, I'm gonna object to the one I can't accept any of it. I can't accept the hearsay unless you got an exception.
I wasn't gonna ask for the statement, just of whether she was aware.
Well, if you already got a statement saying that Dario came in and asked the defendant a question regarding pulling the gun, I can't take that. I'm just making it clear that I can't accept it. I can't use it,
Thank you, Judge.
okay?
Yep.
Again, unless you have an exception to the hearsay rule, I can't use it.
Thank you, Judge. Now, you indicated that your boyfriend, approaches Mr. Bomarito, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and does anything happen after that?
No, they were just kind of physically talking, just talking.
Okay, and how did the two of them seem during that conversation?
I'm not sure, because I was looking at my phone most of the whole time, I was in the kitchen, but I know they was just physically talking, it wasn't kind of like fighting words, kind of, it was just, why would you pull the gun
Okay,
out?
I don't want you to tell me what was said, okay?
Okay.
Now, what happens next?
Okay. After that, my boyfriend, Canario, went in the kitchen and got some water. He came back out the kitchen. He came back out the kitchen and sat next to me in the dining room. And my friend Zaylin, she was there also too. She was still there. And I was in the kitchen, Delshon was on the couch. And Tamar, he was there and he went to sleep. Delshon's son was there, Delero, and he was on the floor asleep. Delshon was really amped up. He had more than one cup of liquor.
Did you see that for yourself?
Yes, I did. Because he came and talked to me and he was apologizing to me about the incident that we had ourselves.
Okay, and when did that occur?
That occurred a day before this incident.
Okay, and you have a conversation with Delshawn about what had occurred, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me what was said?
He was just
My objection is
apologizing.
irrelevant, Judge, if it was something that happened the day before, my objection is irrelevant.
I mean, it's a normal conversation, just make an apology. Why do I know, why do I need to know? How are they related to this event?
Judge, I believe they do lead into this, this discussion leads into, I would be asking that the statements come in, as a statement by the, opposing party. And I believe that it is relevant because it sets up, I don't want to say too much, Judge, but I think it sets up some additional information of what occurred.
Well, right now, none of it doesn't. Right now, they're having a conversation. You know, if that conversation changes, we go to that, but I don't need to know about what happened the day before.
Okay.
You know, all I got right now is he was apologizing about it. And normal conversation.
Okay. Now, how does Mr. Bomarito seem at the point in time that you're talking to him?
He was drunk.
Okay. How else does he seem other than drunk?
He was kind of woozy a little bit, kind of dizzy, like he wanted to just take, like, just sit his cup down and just take it down.
Okay. Now, are you drinking that night?
No, I was not.
Okay. How come?
I was pregnant.
Okay. Now, you have a conversation with Mr. Bomarito, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did that conversation ever escalate at all?
No, it did not.
Okay.
Because we talked about it.
Okay. Now, did what you talked about have anything to do with what was occurring that night?
No.
Okay. Now, after you have a conversation with Mr. Bomarito, what happens?
My friend Zaylen got up and sat next to him on the couch.
Him being who?
Delshawn. And my boyfriend Taderio came in the kitchen. He was already talking to me already.
He being your boyfriend?
Yes, Taderio. Sorry about that. My boyfriend Taderio came in the kitchen. He was talking to me. My friend Zaylen and Delshawn was on the couch and Tamar was on the floor. My boyfriend Taderio was telling my friend Zaylen to come in the dining room so he can talk to us about moving and getting money in our pocket. And she came in there and sat down and I said, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you have a conversation in the kitchen, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and who's involved in that conversation?
Me, Ronald, was just myself, Taderio, and my friend Zaylen.
Okay, and where's Mr. Bomarito at this time?
On the couch.
Okay, now what happens after that conversation in the kitchen?
My friend left, she went to the store. Taderio came in the kitchen and sat down and we and him got to talking. He also had a weapon in his hand.
He being who?
Taderio. He had a weapon in his hand when he came in the kitchen and sat down and talked to me.
Okay, let me stop you. Do you see anyone other than your boyfriend Taderio with a firearm?
No.
Not at any point?
Yes.
Okay, but at that point, the only person you see with the firearm is your boyfriend, is that correct?
No.
Okay, then what is correct?
It was another person in there with a firearm.
Who?
Delshawn.
And when do you see that?
It was already in his hand. Like, it was already out that same day, January 11th.
January 11th?
Yes, this is when this incident occurred.
Okay, do you recall anything that was, any holiday surrounding when this incident occurred?
No, ma'am.
Was it New Year's Eve?
No. This incident happened January 11th.
Okay, now, you indicated that earlier, you said that you didn't specify when, you said you saw Delshawn with a firearm, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me when.
I'm not.
Okay, I'm only talking about the date when you said that there was a party, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so just that day?
Yes.
Do you see Mr. Bomarito with a firearm that day?
It was tucked away.
Okay, when do you first notice that?
Once he pulled it out, once Delshawn got real drunk and was ready to leave.
Okay, and so at this point in time, when you're seated at the dining room table with your boyfriend, what happens next?
My friend Zayden was already going. Tamar was on the floor. Delshawn got up from the couch. He was playing music on his phone. Delshawn went to the bathroom with his firearm in his hand. And my boyfriend Taderio was still sitting next to me in the dining room. Tamar, out of nowhere, myself, I heard a gun cock back. And it was Delshawn, because my boyfriend Taderio had his in his hand already.
Where do you hear that sound coming from, if you know?
In the bathroom.
Okay, and had you seen anyone go into the bathroom?
No, but
Okay.
Delshawn.
You said what?
No, but besides Delshawn.
So no one other than Delshawn?
Yes.
Okay, and how long is Delshawn in the bathroom?
I believe he was in there for about like, I want to say 3 minutes. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Do you hear anything else in there?
No.
Okay,
I heard- No, that was it.
what happens next?
Okay, he came out the bathroom and
Who's he?
Delshawn. Sorry about that. Delshawn came out the bathroom and Tamar, which is Taderio's relative, he got up on the floor and Tamar took his shirt off, took his own shirt off. And he stepped between Delshawn and Taderio because they both had firearms in their hand at that time.
Okay, so describe how that starts to happen.
Okay, so my boyfriend was sitting down, Taderio, he was sitting down in the dining room next to me. He was talking to his cousin Tamar, telling his cousin Tamar to me.
Don't tell me what was said.
Okay.
Okay, just tell me what your boyfriend did. You can
Okay.
tell me what Mr. Bomarito said, but only tell me what your boyfriend did.
Okay, well, he got up from when we was talking and stepped in front of Tamar. Taderio, stepped in front of Tamar. And Delshawn was behind Tamar.
Now, Sean came out the bathroom.
Yes,
He had a gun in his hand.
yes,
Your boyfriend, Dario, was in the dining room.
yes,
He had a gun in his hand.
yes,
And then Tamar, who the boyfriend's cousin or whatever, his brother's relative,
yes,
stepped in between both of them.
yes.
Okay. And then you said somebody, who moved next?
No one moved him.
So you got defendant, you got Tamar, and you got your boyfriend. Tamar's in the bill.
Yes,
He doesn't have a gun.
no,
The other two do.
yes.
Okay, got it. Take it from there.
Thank you. What happens next?
At that time, Tamar was telling the both of them to calm down and put their guns down because Taderio and Delshawn wasn't about to do that with the guns. Tamar was telling both of them to put their guns down. They both didn't want to put their guns down. Tamar and Taderio. Taderio and Delshawn didn't want to put their guns down.
Okay, do you hear Delshawn say anything?
Delshawn said, y'all not about to treat me like HSN. I don't know how y'all feel about that word.
You can use,
Okay, he was saying y'all not about to treat me like a whole ass nigga and stuff like that. And Delshawn, I don't know what else he was saying. That's all I heard come out of his mouth.
how does Delshawn seem at that point in time?
Seeing as he really wanted to get out the apartment before he did something he wasn't supposed to do.
Well, Judge, I object to the characterization. I think that's
I would agree.
completely speculative.
Speculation. That's sustained.
Thank you. Now, you indicated that your boyfriend has a gun and Mr. Bomarito has a gun, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and how are people seeming at that point in time? What's the atmosphere like then?
Kind of, I was scared myself. I was scared, didn't know what was going on, didn't know what was about to happen or anything.
Did you hear any raised voices?
Yes.
Okay, by who?
Delshawn.
Okay, and Judge, at this time, I would ask the court allow any statements made in by Mr. Taderio Collins as an excited utterance.
Why?
Based on the testimony of the witness that they're.
She was scared. He was yelling. What's that got to do with the Dario?
I believe just based on the atmosphere, the two
No.
people being armed.
No. As far as I know, he was as calm as a, whatever, I don't know.
Okay, how did Taderio seem?
Like, normal, just wanted to talk to Delshawn.
Okay, and do you ever see any individuals, well, what happens next?
Okay. Ooh. Tamar was in between them, they was breaking it up, well, yes, Tamar was in between Scenario and Delshawn. Delshawn walked around Tamar, and he was looking for his son, Jalero thing, so he could be ready to leave. And my boyfriend, Scenario.
Kind of complete my question, man. You said the time walking around Tamar,
Yes, like as if, you know, like,
not, I don't need to add up, because I'll be guessing at what his motive was.
yes,
He walked around Tamar and did what?
look for his son, Jalero thing.
Look for his what?
His son belonging,
Oh, the son's belongings.
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Do you hear Mr. Bomarito saying anything at this point in time?
Yes, I do.
What does he say?
Where's my son's stuff at? Why are y'all hiding my son's shit?
Okay. Now, do you hear him say anything else?
Not that I know of specifically, no.
Do you see a firearm anywhere at this time?
Yes.
Where?
And my boyfriend is very young hands and in Sean hands.
Okay. Is anyone pointing any firearms at this point in time?
No.
Okay. I didn't hear the
leader.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Was anyone doing anything with those firearms at the time?
No, they just had them in their hand.
Okay, they being your
Sean
boyfriend?
and Scenario.
Okay. What happens next?
Okay, after that, I found my boyfriend Scenario told me to get up and go help Sean find his son belonging. So I got up and went to go get his son's coat and brought it to him, brought it to Delshawn. And my boyfriend Scenario was still trying to talk to Delshawn to try to tell Delshawn to calm down. You're not going anywhere, sit down, you drunk, you got the baby with you, let him sleep.
Are you saying anything to Delshawn during this period of time?
No, I'm in the dining room on my phone, quiet, once I gave Delshawn his son's coat.
Now, what happens then?
Then my best friend, she was still gone. After that, Scenario, he was already up still. Tomorrow,
What do you mean up still?
he was still standing up in the
Where?
dining room.
And where is Mr. Bomarito standing?
Kinda like, I wanna say, in the front room, waking his son up.
So how many entrances are there to this apartment?
I'm not sure.
How many doors to get in to your apartment?
One,
Okay. Is that like the front door?
yes,
When you walk into the front door of your apartment, what room are you in?
the front room,
And then if you keep walking straight, where are you?
the dining room.
And then are there any other rooms to the right or the left of you?
You have a hallway with the closet, and then you have the kitchen
Okay, which direction is the hallway?
towards the bathroom,
Okay, is that to the left or the right when you walk in?
the right,
Okay, so the bathroom and the hallway are to the right.
yes.
Okay, and you indicated your boyfriend Tadario was standing where?
Towards by the bedroom door and kind of like in the kitchen in the front room.
Which direction is the bedroom if you walk in the front door? To the right or to the left?
To the right,
Okay, towards the bathroom,
yes.
in the hallway?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you indicated that Mr. Bomarito was standing where at that time?
In the front room.
Okay. How far apart were the two at this point in time, if you know?
I wanted to say it was like, I wanted to say maybe like 5 feet or,
Would they have reached out and touched one another, if you know?
no, they couldn't.
Okay, so further than that?
Yes.
Okay, what happens then?
So once I gave Delshawn his stuff, my boyfriend Tadario, he was still standing up. He was trying to talk to Delshawn, tell Delshawn to come sit down.
Can't say what he said.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Tamar,
Let's say what happened instead of what he said.
okay, Tamar walked in the kitchen, and Tamar got to talking to Delshawn, got to yelling to Delshawn, telling Delshawn he not
Tell me
gonna,
what was said.
okay, Tamar was telling Delshawn he not gonna do nothing with that
don't-
gun.
Don't tell me what anyone other than either yourself or Mr. Bomarito said. You can only tell me what you observed the other people doing,
Okay,
okay?
yes, ma'am.
So,
Then back to tomorrow walks in the kitchen, he's yelling.
Yes.
Take the yelling part. It's not what he said. You can tell me what they did, it's all. That's not what they said.
Okay,
At least other than you said it.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now, does Mr. Bomarito say anything back to Tamar?
Yes, he did, but I'm not sure what he said back to him.
Okay, can you tell how Mr. Bomarito seems at that point in time?
He seems really hyped up,
Okay, why do you say that?
because he had more than one liquor.
Okay, but other than the liquor, what about the way that he was acting made you believe that he was hyped up?
He was just all rowdy, just like he normally be sometimes.
Okay. Now, how does your boyfriend seem at this point in time?
Calm and still trying to talk to Delshawn.
Okay, where's Delshawn's son?
I believe he was by his side, picking him up, putting his coat on him.
Okay. And what's the temperature like outside?
It's cold.
Okay. Now, did Mr. Bomarito ever state where he was going or what he was gonna do?
No.
Okay. Did you know why Mr. Bomarito, based off of what he said, do you know why Mr. Bomarito was getting his son's stuff together?
He didn't want to be there no more.
Be where?
At the apartment with me, my boyfriend, and Tamar.
Okay. Now, what happens next?
Tadario, which is my boyfriend, walked behind, he was walking behind Delshawn to the front door. They both had firearms in their hand. My boyfriend was telling Tamar to
Don't tell me what he said.
Okay.
Just tell me what you see someone do.
Okay, Tadario and Delshawn was both walking to the front door. And they was like, the front door right here.
Okay, you say right here.
Okay.
We have to kind of describe. So you just indicated with your hand somewhere, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then.
Front door's there, and then go ahead.
Delshawn was right here on the outside of the door.
Okay, you just gestured with your hand kind of next to where the door was?
Yes.
Was Delshawn inside or outside of the apartment?
Outside of the apartment.
Outside of the apartment, next to where the door was, is that accurate?
They was basically in front of the door, but
Who's
the
that?
door, Delshawn and Tadario, the door was wide open.
Was Tadario inside or outside of the apartment?
Inside the apartment.
Okay. And what's happening at this point in time?
At this point in time, Tadario and Delshawn is talking.
And are any voices raised?
No.
How does your boyfriend Tadario seem at this point in time?
He was seeming real calm still, but to me, I was on my phone the whole time, so I'm not kind of really sure how they both was looking at that point.
Okay. What's the next thing you see or hear?
I heard gunshots and I screamed and I looked up and I seen my boyfriend fall to the ground.
Okay, did you see anyone with a firearm?
Yes.
Who?
Delshawn.
Okay. Now, was there anyone else that had a firearm at this point in time?
Yes.
Who?
My boyfriend Tadario.
Okay, and what was the condition of that firearm?
His firearm was decocked. He had it separated.
When did that happen?
Once he was walking.
He being who?
Tadario. Once he got in front of Delshawn at the front door.
Okay, what do you see happen?
I just heard gunshots. I looked up. I see my boyfriend fall to the ground. I run to him. I see Delshawn gun still raised up like I'm about to get shot next. And I ran to the back room. And as I ran back out, my boyfriend, he was still on the ground with the gun in his right hand and the clip in his left hand.
Okay. Now, describe for me when you said your boyfriend Tadario decocked the gun. Is that what you said?
Yes.
When does that happen?
When he was at the front door talking to Delshawn, I guess he was trying to tell Delshawn that he don't want to hurt him.
Speculation.
I don't want you to give me what he said.
Okay.
Now, if you know, does Mr. Bomarito do that with his firearm?
No.
Okay. Now, you indicated that you saw Mr. Bomarito with a gun raised up, is that correct?
It was in his hand. Yes.
Okay. And was it pointed anywhere?
It was pointed towards my boyfriend once he fell still.
Okay. Was the gun ever pointed anywhere else other than at your boyfriend?
No.
Okay. And how many gunshots do you hear?
I heard 3.
Now, do you ever see or hear your boyfriend Tadario fire any shots?
No.
How far away was Mr. Bomarito from your boyfriend at the point in time that you hear those gunshots?
They wasn't that far apart.
Okay, do you know in feet or inches?
Feet, I want to say probably like 3 or 2 because they both was at the front door.
Now, did you ever hear Mr. Bomarito say anything that led you to believe that he would start shooting?
Bomarito didn't say nothing. Tamar said something, which made Bomarito slip off.
Okay, and Judge, at this time, I would ask that the court allow that statement to come in
Under what exception?
under effect on the listener. It had some sort of effect. She indicated that there was a statement made that caused.
Okay, give me a rule that I can use.
May I have one moment, Judge?
Sure.
Thank you. Sorry, Judge, may I have one more moment? I can move on. You indicated that there was a statement that was made by Tamar that caused Mr. Bomarito to do something?
Yes.
What is it that it caused him to do?
The words that Tamar said.
Okay? And after you hear those gunshots, do you ever, what does Mr. Bomarito do, if anything?
As far as what coming up the situation,
After the gunshot.
he ran.
Okay, do you see where he
No.
runs?
No, ma'am.
Is he by himself or with anybody else?
He had his phone Delero.
And where is where's Tamar at the time of the shooting?
He was in the kitchen.
Okay. Did you ever see Tamar with the firearm?
I looked up and the firearm from my boyfriend was gone, and I heard extra shots after that.
Okay, and what point in time was that?
Once Delshine ran, and I caught Tamar in the front room with me because my boyfriend was laying on the ground.
And what is your boyfriend's condition at that time?
He couldn't get up, he couldn't move, he barely had a pulse.
And did you notice any or observe any gunshots?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, did you have any injuries?
No, ma'am.
Now, at some point in time, did you talk to police?
Yes, I did once they arrived.
And when you talked to police, were you entirely truthful with them when you initially spoke to them?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And what were you not truthful about?
I didn't mention Tamar.
Okay, what about Tamar?
He had a warrant out for his arrest. I didn't want to get him in trouble. That's why I didn't mention him.
Get him in trouble for what?
Because he took the gun and ran.
Whose gun?
My boyfriend, Taderio gun.
Is it after the shooting?
Yes.
Okay. Did you eventually tell police
Yes, I did.
what had occurred?
Yes.
Now, at some point in time, did officers also show you any photographs?
Far as what?
Any photographs of any individuals?
No, but just a picture of the defendant, that's it.
Okay, and did you recognize, when you say the picture of the defendant, did you recognize the person in the picture they showed you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what did you recognize that person as being?
Delshine Bomarito.
Judge, may I approach?
I don't want to see the picture.
Okay, I need.
Why do you need to show it to me? Why? No, this is not a trial. This is only preliminary exam.
she knows him, has known him for a while.
Okay.
She identified him. Why you gotta show the picture?
Okay, I don't have to do that, I can move on.
There's no issue regarding ID here.
Thank you.
People
How
have
long-
known each other.
How long had you known, Mr. Margarito?
Since April 20, I believe 2020.
Okay. Yeah, come on, Judge. And is 22325 West 8 Mile Road in the city of Detroit,
Yes,
in the county of Wayne?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever hear that evening Mr. Bomarito make any threats?
No,
Okay,
In the leading council.
I'm sorry, Judge. I have no other questions.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Hudson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Michael Woodyard. I'm a lawyer, right? I'm gonna ask you a couple of follow-up questions, okay? Is that a yes?
yes,
Okay. So if you don't understand something that I say, will you just tell me?
Yes,
And I'll
sir.
try and fix it.
yes, sir.
Ms. Hudson, how old are you?
20,
The day that we're talking about, what day did all of this happen? Do you remember the date?
yes, I do.
What date was it?
January 11, 2021.
Okay. Do you remember what day of the week that was? That was,
No, I'm not sure. I believe it was Tuesday.
okay, and on this particular day, you testified that there was you, your boyfriend Dario, his cousin Tamar, Delshon, my client,
Yes,
your friend Zane,
yes,
and is that it? Those are all the people in the house?
yes, sir, that's all.
That's all. And, thank you very much. And Valero.
Yes, sir.
So there's another, there we go, thanks for reminding me. You said that, you were describing how Taddeo knew Delshon. Remember talking about that?
Yes, sir.
You said something I want to ask you about. You said something that they, meaning Taddeo and Delshon, you said they used to go back and forth 24/7. What does that mean?
Judge, I would object as to relevance. If we're saying they used to go back and forth, I believe it would only be relevant on this case.
Yeah, plus also you may be opening a door that you don't necessarily want to open if we're talking about prior bad acts that come up.
Judge, I'll move on.
Right.
On this particular day, Ms. Hudson, you said that there was some alcohol that had been shared or enjoyed by everybody?
Yes, sir, it was a party.
It was a party, okay. And you testified that you spent a portion of the time in your room, correct?
Yes, I did.
And that's a place that's separate from the front room and the kitchen?
Yes, sir.
Is that a private room with the door and everything?
Yes, sir.
Did you have the door closed?
It was cracked a little bit.
Okay, so do you think people could see you in there?
They walked
Judge, I would
towards
object
the
as to
bathroom.
speculation, whether or not other people could see or she knows whether you can see her.
I'll ask it this way, Judge. Could you see outside what was going on?
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit, okay, but you could hear also,
Yes,
okay. And you said that at some point you came out of your room, correct?
yes, I did.
And when you came out of your room, this is when Zane was still there, right?
Yes,
And Taddeo and Tamar and Delshon were all still there, correct?
yes,
And you then went back and forth between the front room and the kitchen, Is that fair?
Yes,
You didn't just plop down on the couch and sit there until everything was done. You were going back and forth?
yes,
Okay. And sometimes when you were in the kitchen, if you're in the kitchen, can you see the front room?
no,
Okay. So when you're in the kitchen, you can't see what the boys are doing in the front.
if you lean over toward the stove, you will.
Did you lean over toward the stove to see them?
No,
Okay, so when you're in the kitchen, you couldn't see.
I was never in the kitchen, I was in the dining room, sitting down in a chair.
Okay, all right. Thank you for helping me with that. When you're in the dining room, sitting down in a chair, can you see the front room?
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right. And so at some point, is it your testimony that Mr. Tiderio had a handgun?
Yes, he did,
Okay. Did you know him to have a handgun?
yes,
And at some point in time, then Delshon also had his handgun?
yes, he did,
And while they both had their handguns out, there was conversation back and forth between the two.
yes,
Is it fair to say that it wasn't necessarily a happy conversation? There was some argument.
I mean, I was technically on my phone that whole time,
Okay,
so I don't physically know what the conversations were about physically.
okay,
But as I was looking, it's kind of, I want to say to me, it's like they was both just having a conversation normally a little bit.
okay. Nobody was like off the charts angry.
No, not at that point.
Okay. When you say you were on the phone, did you have earbuds in?
I had one in my ear,
You had one earbud.
yes.
And what were you doing on the phone? Looking at memes or?
I was on
playing a game?
Instagram,
You were on Instagram.
yes.
Okay. And when you're scrolling through Instagram, do you have it so that the volume on the videos, they start right away?
Yes,
Okay. So you're paying attention to your phone
yes.
and you're paying attention to what's going on in your phone.
I was mainly on my phone the whole time, but yes, you're correct.
Okay, but mainly on the phone.
Yes, you're correct.
Fair enough. So at some point in time, you testified, and I know I guess I'm skipping over a couple.
It's okay.
Mr. Tiderio asked you to gather up Delaro's clothes or some belongings, right?
Yes,
And shortly after that, your testimony was that Mr. Delshon Bomarito was close to the front door, like getting ready to leave?
he was in the closet looking for the rest of his girls around.
Okay, all right. And then at some point, he was at the front door?
Yes,
And while he was at the front door, did you remember, you said he had a handgun in his hand?
yes, he was in his hand the whole time.
The whole time, okay. And did he have Delaro with him right then?
Once after Deshaun was walking out the door, yes, he did.
Okay, well, let me just ask a very specific question. Before the guns were fired, well, okay, I'll ask it that way. Before Mr. Delshon fired his gun, did he have Delaro with him?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Did Delshon have Delaro, when you agree to that, tell us how he had him. Was he holding him? Did he have him in his hand?
Oh, no, he had him by his side, like, he walked, he can walk.
Gotcha.
He had him by his side.
So Delaro was standing right next to Delshon?
Yes, sir.
Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was before Delshon discharged his weapon?
Once he discharged it, his son was still right there.
Okay. So before he fired, little Delaro was there?
Yes, sir.
After he fired, little Delaro was still there?
Yes, sir.
So while Delshon was standing at the door with Delaro next to him, he was holding a firearm?
Yes,
And Tiderio was standing there also holding a firearm?
yes,
Were you at that instant still on your phone
yes, I was.
and you were in the dining room?
Yes, sir.
You heard gunshots?
Yes, sir. And I thought it was gunshots coming from outside, like somebody is shooting over the balcony. But as I looked up, I seen my boyfriend turn and fall to the ground because he had his hand on his chest. Tiderio turned and fell to the ground, and Delshon ran off on foot.
Ms. Hudson, I think you testified that after this happened, you noticed that the handgun was still in Tiderio's hand, correct?
Yes, once my boyfriend fell, the handgun was still in his hand.
And that, did you say something about what Tamar did something with that gun?
I didn't see Tamar take it. I was too busy on my boyfriend. I had my ear on his chest to see was he breathing or anything, to see could he hear me. I looked up, I heard other shots fired, and Tamar and the other gun was gone.
Ah, okay. Could you tell, thank you for that. Could you tell where those gunshots came from?
They was coming from, I want to say, kind of towards behind me, because they was close.
Were this coming from inside of the apartment or outside of the apartment?
Outside the apartment.
That's all. Thank you, Ms. Hudson.
You're welcome.
Anything further?
Excuse me, Judge?
Anything further?
Yes, Judge. Now, Ms. Hudson, how long after you saw your boyfriend take the gun apart did you see or hear the gunshots?
Can you repeat that question, ma'am?
You said you saw your boyfriend take that gun apart that he had, is that correct?
I mean, from what I've seen, the way he fell, it was already apart.
Okay, do you know when that happened?
I believe he took it apart. I believe Tadero took the gun apart once he got close up to Deshaun to try to talk to him at the front door.
But do you know?
No.
Okay. Did you ever say anything to Mr. Bomarito?
Not since that day, no.
Okay, did you say anything to him that day?
No, besides when we was talking and once he apologized, that was about it.
Okay. Do you ever comment on him getting the stuff together for his son or anything like that?
I made a comment saying we don't have to hide your son's shit, and I gave his son's help, and that was about it.
Okay. Do you know, based off any statements from Mr. Bomarito, where he was going?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Bomarito do anything else, do anything else other than consume some alcohol, you indicated?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever see him use any drugs or anything like that?
It's not relevant if it's not directed at this evening.
Yeah, right. It's not relevant.
Thank you. Did you ever hear anyone threaten Mr. Bomarito?
Not that I know of, no.
Again, unless you got an exception to a hearsay rule. You're asking about a statement made as a hearsay statement. And I can't take it.
Thank you, Judge. I have no other questions.
Judge, can I ask just one quick follow-up? What might be two, but probably just one. Ms. Hudson, you said that Mr. Bomarito had a couple, I think you said it a couple times, more than one cup of liquor.
Yes, sir.
What about Tadero?
He had more than one cup of liquor too.
What about Tamar?
He had more than one cup too.
And you, none?
No, because I'm pregnant.
Got it, thank you.
Look.
Nothing else.
One, clarify the issue. You were asked about, Dario taking the gun apart. When you say take the gun apart, is that when you testified that when you saw him fall,
Yes,
he had the gun, hold on, wait for my question. He had the gun in the right hand, and he had the clip in the left hand. That's what you mean when you say take it apart, right?
Yes, sir.
The clip was separated from the gun.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions based on my question?
Nothing.
Just real quick, Ms. Hudson, are you familiar with handguns yourself personally?
Yes, I am.
Have you taken a class in handguns?
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing else.
All right, thank you, Mary. You said that. Yes, you said that.
Okay.
Anything further?
Yes, ma'am, one moment. Oh, yeah. I thought so. Judge, I've spoken to defense counsel, Mr. Woodyard, and I believe at this time we have a stipulation, that if this, Latosha, last name Bomarito, Bomarito, is here to testify. She would indicate that she was the mother of the victim in this case, Mr. Tadario, Tadario Collins, and that she identified her deceased son.
I would stipulate to that, Judge.
Thank you.
Or, example.
Thank you, Judge. I would also be moving for admission of people's proposed exhibit number 1, under MCL 766.11B, which is the Wayne County Medical Examiner postmortem report, authored by Dr. Leigh, last name Hlapater. I think it's this time.
Your Honor, I was provided a copy of this in advance. I have no objection under the statute.
All right. Follow the matter. Well,
I'm sorry, did I?
I just need to hear calls in matter of death.
Yes.
Call the death in the matter.
Thank you. It was Dr. Labby's opinion that the death was caused by 5 gunshot wounds. And there were a cluster of 4 entrance gunshot wounds on the mid-chest. The wound tracks past the chest wall, heart, diaphragm, liver, stomach, adrenal gland. In other areas, the one. And there was also a gunshot wound to the lateral right arm. And the other injuries included 2 abrasions on the lateral left chest. It was her opinion that the manner of death in this case was homicide.
Right. I will accept that and look at that for example.
Thank you, Judge. I would also be moving to amend the information I believe that lists the date of, and I don't know that I have that.
I think information complaint says January 11th.
It does, okay. Thank you, Judge. And I am not going to move to amend the information on that. At this time, the people have no additional witnesses or stipulations or exhibits in progress.
All right. Okay.
Judge, we're not going to call witnesses. I guess I'll argue if that's fine or if you don't.
At this time, the people would make a motion to bind the defendant over his charge in the complaint warrant. I reserve that argument.
Right. Okay.
Judge, the only other thing I want to add, I guess, factually, and you'll have a chance if you wish to look at the postmortem report, it also indicates that there is no evidence of close-range firing. So I want to point that out. I think it's important for my argument. Your Honor, I thought that Ms. Hudson was a credible witness, and what was interesting is that she didn't gloss over the fact that she was not, frankly, really paying very close attention to what was going on between the two gentlemen, both Mr. Tadario and Mr. Delshon. Ms. Hudson is very clear that both individuals had handguns in their hands. There was a conversation going back and forth. Ms. Hudson was very clear that the moments immediately preceding the discharging of the weapon, she didn't see exactly what was happening. She was looking at Instagram. She heard things, but she didn't see it. Judge, I think that's important because this is charged as first-degree premeditated murder. I don't think this evidence supports that. I would be so bold as to ask you to dismiss, but of course, Judge, I recognize this court's inherent powers. And I would rather argue that if you don't want to do what I've asked you to do, that I think you should consider binding over on perhaps involuntary manslaughter. There's a couple of theories that might work, where there's a gross negligence theory, or pointing of a firearm at a person. Those are both theories under involuntary manslaughter. Or frankly, Judge, the very most serious charge I think this evidence presents is perhaps the charge of second-degree murder, which is knowingly or intentionally doing an act that you know is likely to cause death or great bodily harm. But even so, Judge, it's hard for me on these facts to make that additional leap about what actually happened, and I don't think the court should. So, thank you.
Yes, Judge. I would ask the court to bind over on charge of first degree murder for the following reasons. There was evidence that the defendant did have a firearm. He did have it in his hand for a period of time while there's some argument going on. According to Ms. Hudson, she described the defendant as being hype at the time that he had the gun. There's some movement around the house, and then the defendant is at the doorway area. Now, while both individuals, both being the defendant in this case and Mr. Collins, were armed, the testimony of Ms. Hudson was that Mr. Collins was calm the entire time, and that after the shooting had occurred, when she looked up at her boyfriend, that the gun was in two pieces, Judge. That there was a clip in one hand and a gun in the other. I would submit to the court that he clearly wasn't firing that firearm, and that the court didn't even go so far as to say that maybe he was trying to defuse the situation at that point in time by taking his gun apart. At the point in time that they're at the doorway, the defendant is a very close distance from where Mr. Collins is, and there's several gunshots fired. Pointed at Ms. Hudson said, pointed at the little raised up, and that she hears those gunshots and she sees her boyfriend fall to the ground, and sees Mr. Bomarito run off. Judge, I believe the fact that he's hyped up, that he's carrying a firearm around the apartment building or the apartment room, and that he's standing at the doorway, there's some discussion. Based on that, Judge, I would ask the court to bind over with regards to first degree murder. If the board has any specific questions, I can answer those. And I believe the fact that it seemed as though defense counsel was arguing I don't know if it was self-defense or, okay. Then I'd ask the court to bind over as charged.
All right, court having heard the testimony, argument finds as follows. The court heard from Ms. Hudson that on January 11th, 2021, in the area of 22325 West 8 Mile Road, City, Detroit, apartment 828. That was her and her boyfriend's apartment, and actually the defendant lived there too. They lived there a couple of weeks. There was a party going on, and they were drinking. And although for the most part, she had stayed in her room, she was not involved in the party and not the drinking. She was filmed because she testified at the time she was pregnant. But at some point she came out, there were only two people there. Dario, the victim, the defendant, Tamar, obviously related to the Dario and the victim. The Dario and the defendant, since testimony of Dario is related to the defendant. The defendant's son and a girlfriend of hers. Renee. There was some conversation going back and forth. Testified felt that the defendant was drunk, and that he at that point wanted to leave the apartment and take his 2-year-old son. And there was some great deal of discussion regarding that between the victim and the defendant. At one point, when both the defendant and the victim had guns in their hands, the other, brother Tamar, stepped in between, trying to assume de-escalate the situation. There was some more discussion, some more talk, although she said most of it appeared to be calm. As Renee left the apartment, it was basically her, the victim, Dario, the defendant and his son, and Tamar were left in the apartment. That the defendant with his son, and they were walking towards the door with Dario. They got to the door, they were standing talking in the doorway, with Dario standing inside the apartment and the defendant being on the outside of the apartment. The next thing that she heard shots, she thought she heard 3 shots. he saw Dario fall. He ran to him. The defendant then ran away, saw him with the gun in his hand. He ran away. The victim still has his gun in his hand. He has the gun in the right hand and he has a clip in the left hand. So, I understand the argument. I just I'm not buying it. You know, I hate to say it, but this is one of those situations where you got young people, you got guns, you got liquor. That's just a combination that doesn't work out. And the defendant had that gun in his hand for a long time. He had plenty of time to think about what he was doing and what he was going to do. And at the time he shot Dario Allen, Dario's gun was dismantled. The clip was separated from the gun. So the courts, you know, at this point, it's a question of fact as the first degree. I believe that a reasonable jury could in fact come to that assumption or deliberation. And if that's put to bind over on count 1 and 2, trying to go somebody who's been secretary to Detroit, probable cause of discharge of defendant. If you bound over any kind of second court criminal decision, arraigned on this information. April 5th, 2021.
Judge, thank you. Could I address the question of bond, having this been bound over on first degree murder? I don't believe that Mr. Bomarito has any bond at all right now. I think the court should offer some kind of bond. Having heard the testimony, I recognize what the court's decision is, and you know, I'll advocate on Mr. Bomarito's behalf and say that you know, I wish you hadn't done that, but I recognize what the court has said. I guess I'm saying all of that to suggest that although there is testimony that Mr. Bomarito engaged in gunfire, I don't think that there's certainly nothing else on this record that would suggest that he represents a danger to anybody, particularly his child and his family, who would take support him. I guess we'd ask for some type of reasonable bond to be imposed.
Judge, I would just ask the court very briefly that he's just been found over on first degree murder. We've heard testimony that he was with his child at the point in time, which I would submit to the court that is even more dangerous for that child. So in addition to the person that was shot and killed and injured here, after committing a first degree murder, or what people argue is a first degree murder, he then took his son and fled. So I would ask this court to keep the bond in this case based off the testimony of the witness here and the court's bind over. I would ask the court to keep the bond in.
No, sure. All right. At this point, no, I'm not going to amend the bond. I will refer it to DSU to get an additional report on bond. But, you know, what I heard in regards to whether or not your client is a threat, you know, again, you have the three situations. You're young, you got alcohol, and you're walking around with a gun. You know, and Mr. Dario Collins is not the only victim here. His son is now a victim. Having the witnesses standing there, you know, right in front of him. So, no, I'm not, I can't move it.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Just for a second.
It'll be real quick.
It'll be downstairs.
It'll be too fast. We'll be real fast. Mr. Bomarito.
Ms. Lindsay, that concludes our docket. I'm gonna shut down the Zoom room.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, bye now. Be safe.
Thank you.